Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Money Minded here on Soul Sisters 10X. My name is Pastor Sharon Hawkins. Today is November the 14th, 2025. Good to be back with you all again on another Friday night. Hope you all had a great week. All right, we're going to jump right into it on tonight's scripture will be from Matthew's the 24th chapter, and I'll be reading verses 42 to 44. Matthew's 24, 42 to 44. And it reads as thus: Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known it that had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore, be ye also ready, for in such an hour as you think not the Son of Man cometh. All right. So again, this is talking about watch. This is Jesus speaking here, and he's telling us to watch and to be ready. So when I was thinking about what to speak on tonight, I know the Bible references that we should not, and which we should not, which is so true. We should not worry about tomorrow, the things of tomorrow. We should always be ready and prepare for things of today. And that's a way of thinking for being money minded as well. Today might be your last day. Today might be my last day. Tomorrow's not promised to anybody. So we should live our lives each and every day like today is our last day of our life. And Jesus said to watch as well as pray. Be prepared. In verse 42 is what 44 is what I like. Therefore, be also ready. We have to be ready for anything that comes. We got to be ready for Jesus's return. We got to make sure that we are repent, we baptize in Jesus' name, filled with the presence of the Holy Ghost. We're living right, we're living holy, we're following the commandments, we're doing all the will of God. So what does that have to do with being money minded? We also should always be ready, in any aspect of our life. If Jesus does not come back on tonight, if God does not decide to take my life tonight, then I have to be ready to still live in this world. I should be prepared with living for tomorrow. I don't worry about the things of tomorrow, but if he doesn't come back, will I have the means to live? Will I have the means to move forward? And that's when savings comes in. Not trying to live check to check, making sure that we have things, the necessities in life, food, clothing, and shelter, right? This is why we go to work, so we can earn that paycheck, so we can take care of things in the matters of life. So we always have to be ready. And unfortunately, death is part of life, and that's something that we have to be ready for as well. I know I've spoken on this before, but with so much of it going on around us, and it seems like people are just leaving here. The Bible speaks of that we should, as we studied this on this platform as well, that we should leave an inheritance for our family, an inheritance for those that come after us. So when we think about life and setting up an inheritance, that means preparing for our leaving of this earth too. None of us are guaranteed to be here when Jesus comes back to crack the sky. If God does not send his son back while we're yet alive, we have to go by the grave. So we should be prepared for those things too. So, it's the end of the year. We're going into and looking forward to 2026. I've been saying for the last few weeks that it's time for us to reevaluate our budgets, reevaluate our savings, look at the things that we have, and what we have in place. And one of them is unfortunately preparing for death. We don't want to be a burden unto our family. I see so many GoFundMe accounts and things like that on social media, where they have to looking for things. To lay their loved ones to rest, right? Well, part of being ready is to be ready for that too. We got to be ready for that spiritually. Spiritually is the most important part of this. It's the most important, we got to be ready, because we know there's life after death. We have got to prepare ourselves to go back to meet our maker, because it's not over when we leave here. This body is over. This body succumbed. This body has gone through and did and served as its purpose. It's a host for our soul, but our soul is going back to the Father, and our soul, has to be ready to make it to the kingdom. Contrary to what everybody thinks, that everybody's going to heaven, but that's not the case, because if everybody was going to heaven, there would be no need of a hell. There would be no need of God even letting us know that there is hell in a lake of fire in the book of Revelations and throughout the word. Right? So no matter what we all want to think, and we all want to believe that we're all going to heaven, that is not the case. We have got to be ready. We have got to do this thing the way that God tells us to do in the Bible. And we can't pick and choose what scriptures we want to abide by. We got to do the whole thing. The Bible said, put on the whole armor of God. So we got to go from Genesis to Revelation. Oh, Pastor Hawkins, but the Old Testament, that was their customs and things. Yep, you're right. Absolutely. Because Jesus didn't go, but Jesus didn't, we got to keep in mind, Jesus didn't come to do away with the law, but he came to fulfill the law. So what did he do? He critiqued it. He made some changes. In the Old Testament was an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. In the New Testament, he's telling us to what? Pray for them that despitefully use us. He says, love your enemies. Turn the other cheek. Entertain the stranger unaware. All of these things here. So Jesus didn't do away with it. He just critiqued it and changed it so we can live under grace and truth. So those things that we learn from the Old Testament still apply to us today. The law, the regular common law, applies to the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. Right? You will go. These are things that you will go to jail for. You can get arrested for, you can get locked up for. So it's the same concept. So we got to make sure that we're ready. But we got to make sure we're ready in all aspects of our lives. And that's preparing for death as well. So take a look at your savings. Take a look at your life insurance policies. It's a good time of the year to revisit those. Your life insurance policies, your 401ks, right? Because if you don't come, some may have the desire, some may have the will, some may have or might be able to. Next year might be your will, or your year, or the next 2 years to be able to retire. So look at that 401k. Check to see if you have enough savings, because of what? You want to be ready when that comes. You don't want to have to suffer. I was just speaking to some people yesterday about, we were talking about the SNAP program, and, now that the government shutdown has come to an end for this period, we don't know how long that it's going to be reopened. Again, what they pass only goes through January. But we're talking about people being so judgmental, and I know I spoke about this before, and the people that rely on these things, right? On SNAP, and they rely on the Medicaid. They rely, even the federal. We all do. We rely on our job, right? So we know in order to get paid. It's heartbreaking and heart-wrenching when you get laid off, or when you're furloughed and you don't know where the next dollar is coming from, but yet National Grid wants their money. The bank wants their car money. The car insurance place wants their money. These kinds of things. So it's heartbreaking. So this is why being money-minded is so important. This is why savings is so important. This is why being ready is so important in every aspect of our life. You want to be ready, because growing up, I used to hear my mom say, we got to prepare for the rainy day, right? So when you get up and you see it's raining, obviously we're in that season where it's raining and it's snowing, right? So you're not going to go outside without an umbrella, or you're going to put your boots on. You check, now is the time of the year that we want to check the weather. Is it going to, I know down south they're going through it. They just had a big freeze. It got down to 30 something degrees, and now it's back up to 60 or 70. So do I need my winter coat, or do I just need a hoodie or maybe a sweater, right? If the weatherman says it's going to rain today, we're going to take our umbrella. Oh, there's snow, so we're going to make sure that we have, I just did it too. I took my grandchildren play soccer, sports and stuff, so I have my, my chair and things for the soccer field in the back of my car. So now it's changed the season, so I bring the chair and the things that I use in the summertime back in the house, and now I'm putting my snow, a blanket, an emergency kit, just things in case you get stuck in a storm or whatever. You want to be ready. You want to be prepared. So when you're looking at that financially, we want to be ready for everything. Again, so revisit those life insurance policies, revisit those 401ks, revisit your burial, what you have for life insurance and all of those kind of things, because you don't want to be a burden to your family. And also another very important thing to do is, looking ahead, even though we're not worried about tomorrow, we don't want to mix this up, okay? Because we're not planning, but we still have to live and be part of this world, right? Is, we're looking forward to, next year and trips and vacations and making these kind of plans, or you're setting your budget on or on fun things or whatever. Incorporate that in your savings too. Incorporate that into your budgeting. You may have to make some critiques on that too. Oh, I saved X amount of dollars, or that didn't work, or don't forget inflation, the prices of things that are going up, right? Hotel stays might go up, taxes might go up. Here in Utica, we just saw in the news that they had a proposal, whatever the case might be, in the county tax for this for our county is going up 5%. So what does that mean? I need to prepare for that. My escrow might be a little higher next year or the following year, right? Do I have the means to be able to take care of that extra, right? Or is it going to cause me grief or havoc, right? Or am I going to have to rob Peter to pay Paul? So you want to continue to take a look at those things, because you want to be ready. You want to. And don't forget, when you're planning for all these things, have an emergency fund kit too, in case something breaks down, your car, your refrigerator, your stove, your vacuum cleaner, whatever the case might be, right? You want to have something saved away or stored away, so if something breaks, that you're able to go back and to get it fixed or repaired, or if you have to be able to purchase a new one, whatever the case might be. Okay, so we want to look at these things and make sure that we are ready. We don't want to start it off. Okay, I know a lot of people can't wait for the holiday season to get over, because what happens January, February, now everybody's looking for the government again. Oh, we want income taxes. Oh, we can't wait. When can we file? When do I get my W-2? A lot of people do it early in December. They'll go to H&R Block or Jackson Hewitt and take out those loans, and able to do things for Christmas and things like that. Which there's nothing wrong with it if you need it, but let's try to rethink that and be more money minded, so we can be prepared that we don't have to do that. But keep in mind that, again, the government shut down. This is the longest that we've had, right? And it's only until January. What happens if it shuts down again? Well, guess what? That income tax, that check that you're going to be waiting for, that the government shut down, it might be delayed, right? Because if the government shuts down, that means that the IRS or whatnot, and these people will be furloughed and they may not be working. So we want to be as ready for everything that's coming before us as we possibly can. We realize being ready for heaven is the most important thing that we need to be ready for. But we also, while we live on this earth, want to be ready for those things too. So take a look at those things. Don't depend on, waiting for and hoping for the tax brackets to come out, and what the tax credits are going to be and all those kind of things. Yes, it's nice, it's fun, it's great, it's extra money. You're looking forward to that refund, right? But when we do the right thing on a day-to-day basis, right? When we're doing the right thing from day to day, when we're taking care of our finances the way that we should, if we are being good stewards, like we're supposed to be, right? Well, we just finished the series on stewardship, meaning that God gave us everything. He provided everything, and he gave us dominion over things. And it's our responsibility to make sure that we are taking care of the things that he has given us. In Bible class, we're studying the book of Exodus, and we just got done with the 10 Commandments, and God is still in chapter 23, 24, 25. God is still giving the laws of what he's expecting from the Israelites and what he wants them to do and how to take care of the things that he has blessed them with. We just went over how he did he made the candlestick and the Ark of the Covenant and things like that, and how he was specific when he told him this, just like when he did with Noah, to build the ark, so many cubic by so many cubics. The same thing with the Ark of the Covenant, the same thing with the candlestick, and the seven things that come out from it. You have got to be that specific with your finances. You have got to be that peculiar with your finances. One thing, again, I heard on the news today, it may not have been today, may have been yesterday. They were talking about savings, and when you save, make sure you save for fun things too. Make sure you save for the things that make you happy. I would rather, travel, get that experience, and make those memories, right? To go out and purchase all this stuff. And I'm looking at it just to sit somewhere or whatever, and it makes your house is pretty and beautiful. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I like nice things too, right? But for me, I'd rather have the experience and have those memories, because what's going to happen, when we pass away, when people pass away in our lives, all we have left are those pictures and those memories and those moments that you can go down memory lane and you can reflect from it. And some items and things that you have too are nice and whatever, the same, but having that experience for me is something that I enjoy more so than having that object or thing around. So whatever makes you happy, they said on the news. Let me get back to that. Whatever, the things that make you happy are the things that you should invest in. I too myself had a very bad habit at times of retail therapy. I love it, but once I got more money minded, I had to realize that, going out, just doing this impulse spending and the impulse shopping didn't do me any good. It was hurting me instead of helping me. Because what was happening was, I was going out buying all these things that I didn't need, right? Impulsing, and at times, charging it and whatnot, and then having to spend over time in order to pay these bills back, to be able to pay them off, right? So now I'm really more money minded and thinking if this is a want or this is a need. I said this when I think I started this platform or started Money Minded on this platform. One thing that when COVID hit and we had to started the delivery service, and then they started the drive up. You drive up, you do your pickup. On most stores and stuff like that even has it. And I find it interesting because even retail stores, Boscov's, and we don't have too much here in Utica. Boscov and Target and things like that, they have it as well, that you can just drive up and pick up, and I used to be like, oh my goodness, we're going to get so lazy from this. And, we shouldn't do these things. But I have come to happen to take those words back, because I love the pickup. And I'll tell you why I love the pickup, because it stopped me from the impulse shopping, right? So what happens when you go to the Targets or the Boscov's or the Walmarts or whatever? We're looking, I'm speaking from, let me speak on my terms. I'm looking at the clearance racks. I'm looking to see what's on sale, right? And I'm going over to those areas and things like that, where if I do it online and shopping online, right? I'm not just for me, I'm not as tempted as to scroll through all that, but I'm going out there just picking the items that I need. So that way, when I drive up, it helped me to decrease my impulse spending. It helped me decrease my impulse shopping, right? So that's something that helped me to be a little bit more money minded. Just give me my example. You best, right? I can sit here all night and talk to you about being money minded, saving, being ready for next year, being ready, for whatever's to come ahead of us, be ready for retirement and things like that. The choice is up to you, but I can just give you my experience and some examples of what you can do in order not to do those type of things, right? To help us and be able to move along. Those things. And I'm going to throw something else a little bit here in biblical. And in our lives, in our spiritual walk with God, we are supposed to always put God first, no matter what. Before we eat, we pray, right? Before you get your paycheck, pray. Ask the Lord to help you with your spending, that you would do what you were supposed to do with your finances, right? Put God before your finances. I shared that testimony with you all that I said, I had prayed and I lived check to check for a long time. And I prayed and I asked God, I don't want to live check to check anymore. I want to be able to, if I want something every once in a while, I want to be able to go and purchase it, right? So, the Lord spoke to challenge me and told me to increase. So I increased in my giving. And when I increased on my giving, guess what happened? God showed up and God was God. And he allowed, he blessed me. It seems like now that check goes, it stretches. It goes more and more. And not just that, not just the money itself, right? But he's also taught me how to handle my finances better. He's also taught me how to look at where my money was going. What was I doing with my spending? You ever think about when you get paid or whatever, and you're thinking like, oh my goodness, well, where did my check even go? I a lot of times when I come out of the grocery store, I always like, oh my goodness, I just spent $150 and I got 2 bags of groceries. Like, what happened, right? We know that's inflation and things like that are happening. So we just want to make sure that we do better and that we're ready, right? Ready. It's a holiday season. My last spiel for the evening. It's a holiday season. A lot of these stores, retailers, they want your money. So they're starting their Black Friday sales early. They're starting things early. This time of the year is not just for holiday shopping, right? This is the time of the year that you're going to get the best bangs for your buck. You might need a mattress. You might need appliances. Might need to replace something in your home or whatnot, right? You are going to, from here until the end of the year, and you're going to get the end of the year sale. And then in January, they have the white sale or the linen sale, and then they have the baby sale, and then they do the exercise because everybody makes their New Year resolution to lose weight, right? So the economy, these retailers know what the consumer wants. So, again, be ready, shop around, don't impulse spending, look at things. Some things are on sale now that might be again on sale on Black Friday, whatnot, your TVs and all of that, all of those things. Right. So if you really need those things, I would suggest doing your research, shop around. And not only that, you got the platforms that you have, buy now, pay later. You can split it up with the Karma. What's the other one? PayPal. There's a whole bunch of different ones that you purchase it and they split it up over 4 different payments every 2 weeks or something like that. They have those options out there. But the point of tonight's lesson is to just make sure that we're ready. We're ready for the future. We don't know what it's going to be whole, right? So you want to be ready, even for our passing, even for us leaving. So we don't want to be a burden on anybody else. But most importantly, Jesus said that no man knoweth the day that he cometh back, right? And if we knew a thief was coming to the house on a such and such a day, we would make sure that we were at home to try to discourage the thief from coming if we knew that was going to happen, right? So we have always got to be ready. Make sure that your soul is ready and your soul is right with God. If it's not right, get right. If it is right, stay right. Always be ready for his coming. All right. I hope you got something out of tonight's message. And Lord's will, we'll be back with you again on next Friday night.